Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, June 21st, 2019. Welcome to another eBay video. Today we're going to be discussing shipping glitches, sellers running out of stock, cancellations, false item not as described claims. We're also going to be discussing your comments, questions, and concerns from last week's video. So let's get right into it. First of all, as you can see, once again, it's cloudy and rainy. It has been cloudy, rainy every day since I was last on camera. We have not had one day that it did not rain. They're saying the weekend is going to be dry, Saturday and Sunday. However, Monday goes right back to another week of rain. This is just unbelievable. Horrible. It's 65 degrees. We're going to be lucky if we make it into the 70s today. Anyway, let's get started with your comments, questions, and concerns from last week's video. Oh, and one more thing before I get started. Note, the birdhouse is up. Birdhouse number 1 is up. The plate still has the misspelling on it, but Patty is sending me a replacement plate, which I will just stick right over that. So for next week's, it will have the correct spelling. But as of this filming, it still does not, but it's looking good. And Jay's birdhouse, I have not yet put up because I have to put that one up in the back, and it's been too darn rainy and wet. And Nathan's birdhouse still hasn't come, but that'll go up too as soon as it comes. So let's get started with a comment from Bruce Allen about the eBay returns flow screen. Thanks, Joe. Another great show in the archives of the Crazy New York Driver. Keep them coming, please. What particularly caught our attention was your cutaway video explaining the new return flow screen. That's because we just received an expected return from the West Coast earlier today. The buyer returned a set of Shannon crystals she paid $33.95 for, plus she paid $11 to have it shipped to her. Reason stated, change my mind. Was a gift, but the recipient already has one. Clearly, buyer error. Although we don't get many returns, and this buyer did pay to have the item shipped back to us, why wouldn't we also refund this buyer her original shipping costs? After all, she paid us to send it to her, right? And the item is back in our possession, perfectly good resellable condition. We noticed in your cutaway video that you only refunded the buyer the original shipping price for the hubcap, but did not refund his original shipping cost. With our past returns, we found it justified to refund the buyer their original shipping cost, being the money came out of their pocket. Then we would recoup the cost after relisting the item, and the next buyer would pay to have it shipped. Do most buyers expect to get a refund minus the original shipping cost that they paid? If we were to refund the buyer these crystals $33.95 instead of $44.95, the amount they originally paid, wouldn't that almost guarantee a negative feedback? Are we missing something here, Joe? Or were we thinking about this all wrong? Please enlighten us, and thanks again for all you do. Okay, Bruce, I got to tell you something here. That question actually surprised me. In your case, it was clearly a case of buyer remorse. I never, ever give back original shipping for cases of buyer remorse. If they bought the wrong size, the wrong color, changed mind, why should I have to eat the original shipping cost for a mistake made by the buyer? I have been operating that way forever, and I have never had a problem. Never once. Theoretically, if a buyer did leave me a negative feedback after doing that, I would call eBay and ask to have it removed, citing a clear case of buyer remorse. I would like comments from as many of you as possible on this topic. When you sell an item and the buyer returns it because of buyer remorse, Do you give them the original shipping back? As you know, I never do. Apparently Bruce does. I want to know what you guys have to say on this. Comment, please. Also on the eBay returns flow screen, Daniel Scales wrote, I sell on eBay Motors and get new return requests daily, but my returns flow screen is still the same old one. I verified this on a fresh return request opened today, June 14th. Joe may be one of the lucky few on the beta version of the new returns flow. Lack of sales gap glitch happened to me on Thursday morning and afternoon and evening when all of a sudden I got several orders. Yes, I do believe not everybody is opted into the new returns flow screen. I'm one of the lucky ones, and boy, I can sure use the help. On restocking fee, Mary Weemere wrote, Joe, thanks, this was very helpful. I like the idea of restocking percentage on my sales if a buyer does not return an item in the condition it was sent, damaged, you know the drill. With the new rates on shipping and some ideas will be cheaper on FedEx. I'm not thrilled about their new policy. I swear you need to build an ark. It's raining lightly right now. You probably can't see it, but heavy rain is due later on. On a glitch, 5797029, Mike wrote in and said, the return you used for your demonstration was similar to one I had. The return was started but not shipped when I got a message from the buyer asking if I had received it yet. I checked the mailbox and there it was. The buyer had not used the eBay provided free return shipping label, so no tracking. This was a clothing item that cost me $4 to ship that he paid $5.50 to return. I messaged him asking him why he did not use the free label. He responded he wasn't able to print it. eBay told him there was a glitch in the system. In a conversation with eBay CS the next day, I was told tough luck for this buyer. Nothing could be done to help him. The reason I had called CS was to close 2 cases. The rep told me they were closed. I had to call back today because they weren't closed. Another glitch according to this rep today. Glitches are still prevalent on eBay. Before we do anything else, let's stop right now because I want to show you a shipping glitch I encountered the other day. Let's get right to that and then I'll come back and discuss it. Okay guys, in this screenshot you can see I'm getting an error message when I'm trying to print a shipping label. It says failed to obtain services from USPS, ship to address is invalid or unsupported. And you can see that's because the buyer jumbled his address up instead of leaving spaces between each word. 2045 East Carolina Avenue. Now this should be an easy fix by just clicking edit and separating the words. So let's see what happened when I did that. This screen comes up, and as you can see, the address does populate in the address field and shows it's a legit address. So by clicking save, this should easily fix the problem, right? Let's see. Bang! That's what I got. Something went wrong. I tried it about 5 or 6 times and I gave up. So I called eBay customer service. The representative tried it himself and he agreed with me that there is in fact a glitch. He put in a support ticket and he told me the only way that I could ship this package is to physically go to the post office and pay over the counter. Because this is not my fault, the representative told me that he would reimburse me the following day for the shipping label and that he would call me back to follow up on this. So, what do you think happened? Anybody want to take a guess? Let's get back to the video and we'll find out. Alright guys, before we do any more discussions on that, let's take a drink from the Fox News Cup O' Life. This is the Fox News Cup O' Life. Happy is he who drinks from it. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling! You saw the shipping glitch that I just showed you on the cutaway. That kind of stymied me because, as I told you, I called the eBay rep, he understood the problem, and he said he would credit me with the label cost and call me back the following day. And I left you guys on a cliffhanger. Did he call me back, yes or no? And the answer is a big hell no. No callback. I had to call eBay customer service again the next day, explain it to a different person. This time I had a lady, and she looked and she understood, but she told me that she herself would not have gone about doing it that way. She would have given me different instructions. I don't know what they were, but she did in fact credit me the label. It was only $10.50, but it's a principle of the thing. These glitches need to be ironed out. And when I encounter something like this, I'm a-calling. Ecom2933 wrote about eBay Mobile. Sorry your weather is so crappy. We've been having 3-digit thermometer readings here in Arizona, but that's why we moved here, I guess. It's just the beginning. You'll see when you get to Vegas. Here's my concern. All my descriptions are suddenly mobile compatible. This has never happened before. I've always needed to use the compatibility checker, and it's always required a correction and save. Is this a glitch, or is eBay actually doing the work they should have been doing for us for years? I'm so befuddled and confused. Can't wait to see the third birdhouse. It's been really a long drought, but when it rains, it pours. A long drought? I don't even know the meaning of the word drought. It's non-stop rain. But as far as your mobile-friendly checker and your mobile-friendly situation, I read a couple of posts on Facebook where people agree with you and say that their listings are all mobile-friendly now. So I have to assume that you are correct, and eBay is now taking the extra step to make our listings mobile-friendly. Sure Essentials wrote in about a glitch. Hi Joe, check out this glitch that happened to me on Monday night last week. A couple of weeks ago, I accepted an offer from a buyer on one of my items, and he did not pay. After 2 days, I filed an unpaid item case, which eBay closed in my favor after 4 days. Last Monday, 10 freaking days after the unpaid item was closed, the buyer filed an item not received case against me. I immediately called eBay twice and was told they closed the item not received case in my favor, but it's still showing not resolved. I finally had it fixed by messaging eBay for Business, who apologized and said their tech team was aware of this glitch and they were working on it. Of course his item wasn't received because he never freaking paid for it. Sheesh. Now the same thing happened to me approximately 9 years ago. Can't believe it. I can't freaking believe it. I require immediate payment because all my items are in the fixed price category, so this couldn't happen to me. I avoid the best offer feature. I avoid it like the plague because of reasons like this: non-paying bidders. In no way should a non-paying bidder be able to open an item not received case when it clearly shows he has not paid and it shows that the case was closed in the favor of the seller. But this same thing happened to me 9 years ago. And I'm wondering if this really is a glitch or if it's just business as usual and nothing has changed in the last 9 years. My advice to you, Sure Essentials, why do you continue to use the best offer feature when buyers don't have to freaking pay? All right? I don't use it. I swear to God, this week alone, I had at least 10 people message me through eBay contact system trying to get a cheaper price. All right? You don't need best offer. They will message you and ask you for a cheaper price. I had about 10 of them. Out of about 10, I think 2 or 3 were reasonable and I accepted their offer, while the other 7 or so were just so far out of the ballpark, I said, just get it locally. Wooden Stuff with Steve French wrote about PayPal. It's good to hear that PayPal undid their return policy change. Thanks for the update. Great birdhouses, and I love the ending. But please, Joe, there's only one thing that really matters. It's very important, so pay attention. It's just 3 simple but powerful words. Don't be fitchy. Words to live by. LawnPro.biz wrote in with some questions about the channel and me. Please answer, I've been watching you for years, but 3 things I would love to know that has 0 to do with eBay, and you have most likely covered it in a video that I missed. Are you married? Do you have kids? And lastly, with the weather always bad, why do you not do your videos inside instead of fighting the weather all the time? Like I say, most likely you've answered these questions in the past, but I'm not seeing them. Thanks for the foggy content, LOL. You are correct, sir. I've answered all 3 of those numerous times, especially the weather question and why I film out here. I film out here because it is convenient and the lighting is the best. The lighting is the worst in my house. I just can't get good lighting in my house. I can get very good lighting at work, and occasionally I will film from work, as you know, when I'm really running short of time. So I hope that answers that questions. As far as the other 2, never had kids. You know, I've been in business all my life dealing with the public. I started dealing with the public at age 13. And you know that even today, in the year 2019, I can talk to basically any age person and get along with them and relate to them from the age of 18 up to like 100. But I just have a problem talking to kids. I've never learned how to talk to kids. I don't know how. I don't play video games. I have nothing in common with them. You know, they want to talk about Fortnite. I don't even know the premise of the game. So, no, never had kids. And as far as my ex is concerned, like the old saying goes, don't prod the sleeping bear. I hope that answers your questions. Joseph George wrote in, I have an issue with buyers wanting additional pictures, which I don't mind providing. However, I've never had a buyer to buy an item that I provided additional pictures for. I end up blocking those buyers. Man, that was a very timely comment. Sometimes I do get people asking for additional pictures, but I get people asking the most obscure questions. I had a really good one this week. She wrote in earlier in the week about a set of hubs I have listed. And she started out fairly reasonable. Are these original or are they reproductions? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them? Do they have any damage to them? I answered all her questions. As quick as I answered her questions, she would write back with 3 more. And when I answered them, 3 more. But what finally was the icing on the cake was a question she wrote the other day. How can I see these in person before I buy them? And she lives in California. That's when I knew I had somebody that could be an issue. I had another person that wrote in with many questions from Nevada, and he started out reasonable. What size are these? Even though it says it in the listing. Will they fit my car? How will I know if they fit my car? Says it in the listing. And then he writes, how much is shipping to Las Vegas? When all this is clearly in the listing. I honestly think this person is not a serious buyer. He's probably just lonely, wanting to chat somebody up. Betty A wrote in with a channel comment. Those birdhouses are awesome. They bring a smile and appreciation for clever and beautiful workmanship, as well as your awesome subscribers. Love the beautiful pine trees you have. The smart birds in your area will choose not to be fitchy, but to use the birdhouse to get in and out of the rain. LOL. Have a great week, Joe. Svetozar Stoliv wrote, I have interesting case with an item I sold 3 months ago. The package stayed 30 days at the UPS post office, then was marked as unclaimed and returned back to me. 2 weeks ago, the buyer sent me a message on eBay, hey, where's my package? The item just arrived back, and I wonder what to do now. I can send the item back to the buyer, but he never responded again. If there is a problem with his address, I'm afraid the same thing can happen again. I did not refund him yet. Buyer has not opened any cases. What would you do in this situation? First thing, all buyers are responsible to have a firm, legit, and safe address to receive all their packages. This has happened to me a number of times over the years. Usually I don't get stung, but once I got stung with a similar story like yours. The item was returned to me and I contacted the buyer out in California. He had zero feedback and he was on a guest account and he joined eBay just to buy my item. So he thanked me for writing to him and gave me his legit updated address with corrections and said he would reimburse me the $17 shipping when I sent it to him. I thought he was going to be an honest buyer and I sent him the package and he never sent me the check for $17. So I got stung on that. Ever since then, if a person writes to me and says, you know, hey, I didn't get my box, there was a mistake, I say, no problem. If you want it, you're going to have to pay the return. You are going to have to pay shipping a second time for your mistake. It's X dollars. And if they pay, no problem, I'll send them the item. No problem whatsoever. Time for the second drink of the Fox News Cup of Life. Sylvester Vandally wrote in with a story about cancels. Had an auction end this Wednesday and a buyer got a bid in at the last minute and outbid everyone else. Right after the auction ended, he requested to cancel the transaction. I did not accept the cancellation since he jumped in at the last minute and now he doesn't want to pay. What will eBay do to him? He never sent me an email explaining why he wants to cancel his bid other than letting me lose a sale because he wanted to win the auction and then drop my other buyers. He has very little feedback but will be blocked from ever bidding on another item of mine. I don't want or need this kind of buyer. Thanks, Joe. Sylvester, this is another very timely comment and I'm glad you wrote in with this story. Number one, I'm glad you blocked him. All right? That kind of behavior is not conducive to the eBay platform, what he did to you. Jumping in at the last minute, sniping the listing, and then wanting to cancel. That's just plain wrong, and I'm glad you did not cancel. Sir, I respect you for that. Now, I want to tell you a similar story that happened to me this week. All right? And here's an example of where I took a cue from some of you good people. As you know, I get quite a few cancellations and a lot of returns. The cancellations kind of ebb and flow. For a while I won't get any, but then they'll just come in like gangbusters. And I've had a long-standing policy with cancellations. That being, I always give the buyer 1 hour, a firm hour, to decide to cancel before I print any labels or ship anything. And I'm going to continue to do that for them. If they want to cancel, if they realized they made a mistake, that's fine. Or if they see eBay is showing them a cheaper price from my competition in the first hour, I'll accept it. I don't like it, but you know, it's just doing business. What I will no longer do, and I will prove this to you right now, is accept cancellations 5 hours, 6 hours, or 1 day later. Those days are done. And I will give you 2 examples of things that happened to me this week that will highlight that. I had 2 cancellations this week. One I would call legit and one I would call off the wall fishy. The legit cancellation came overnight. I went to bed and at some point in the middle of the night a person bought one of my items. Now let me set the time frame here on this particular, in case I didn't make it clear. Let's say he bought the item at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning when I was sleeping. 5 or 10 minutes later, he wanted to cancel the item. Still I was sleeping, but even though I didn't get it for the next 5 hours or so, I approved the cancellation. It was no harm, no foul. Even if he had waited 3 or 4 hours, in this case, I would have approved the cancellation because I hadn't printed anything. Okay? So, conversely, let me tell you about another story. Last week, a guy bought an item from me at approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A very cheap item. Okay, I gave him at least an hour. Didn't hear anything from him. I gave him 5 hours. Okay? So that means I printed the label approximately 7 o'clock at night. I put it in my outgoing pile for the next day. Sometime later, and it had to be much later, because I woke up to it the next day, I get a cancellation from this guy. I want to cancel the item. He says, I've changed my mind. Now, obviously, he contacted me through the eBay messages. All right? Now we're going on, what, 18 hours since he bought the item? The label's printed, the item's packed, the box is in my car, and it's ready to go to the post office. And here's where I took a page out of the playbook that some of you guys told me. You know what I did? I shipped it. I shipped it out. No more am I accepting cancellations 8 or 10 hours after the label has been printed, the item has been boxed, and it's in the outgoing shipping pile. Anything in that pile is going, okay? The days of people not taking responsibility for their actions and waiting 8 or 10 hours is over. Is over. And I have read the comments you good people have written on many of my previous videos telling me how you don't accept those long-term cancellations anymore. So I would like to rehash that now in the comment section below. What is the longest you will allow a cancellation from a buyer on any of your items? Or will you even allow a cancellation on any of your items? I know there's a few that don't, but I want to hear from every one of you if possible. Whether you accept cancellations or not, you may say something like, well, Joe, I'm not accepting a cancellation even if it's 10 minutes later. Or you may say, well, Joe, I'm like you. I'll wait an hour or two, and if I haven't printed the shipping label, I'll accept the cancellation. Or you may say, Joe, I will accept cancellations for as long as I have not shipped the item. Doesn't matter. I want to hear your opinion on this, so please state it below. The more attentive of you guys will notice that I put out a video, I believe it was last Saturday night, about a 16-year-old kid that was shot and killed by some trash over an Xbox game. This deal went down on a site called OfferUp, and the kid's old man drove him to a secluded area where there were abandoned houses to meet and do this exchange with this Xbox game. And the kid got out of the car, went and approached the buyers, and they pulled out a gun. The kid knew he was in danger. He turned around to run to the car. They shot him right in the back. That's appalling and unbelieving, and it's unbelievable and it's disgusting. Words almost fail me on this particular thing. Never meet anyone you don't know in an unsafe and secluded place. If you insist on doing these deals, go to a local police station. Many police stations actually have a program in place where buyers and sellers can meet at their location and do deals like this. Please don't meet people at abandoned houses or derelict locations. Your life is worth a lot more than that. I had kind of a weird thing happen to me this week, and I didn't catch it right away. A person bought an item from me, paid, I shipped them the item, they loved it, they left me positive feedback. I went to return positive feedback to them. I was shocked to see their eBay feedback rating was -1. Here, take a look. Now what shocks me about that is, number one, you don't see it that often, and number two is, I am sure I have in my preferences to block all eBayers with a -1 or worse feedback. So my question is, how did this deal ever go through? I don't get it. The -1 feedback they received was as a seller. They had sold an item to somebody and then changed the terms and wanted more shipping money. But still, a -1 is a -1, whether it's a buyer or a seller. And I am actually shocked that that deal went through, considering that. A lot of people are still screaming about false item not as described claims. And I do have some good news for you, but I'm going to have to limit it right now. eBay is going to announce, or says they're going to announce, a big change regarding this policy. But what I've been told from the people in the know is to stay patient, stay diligent. A policy change is coming about these bogus items not as described claims. You've all had them. I know you have. I've had them too. I don't get many, thankfully, but I've had a few. So I do feel your pain on this. Next item I want to talk about is sellers being out of stock. God, I know this video is running really long today, but we've got to talk about all this stuff. Some of it's time sensitive, some of it's not, but it's all important. So check this out. I bought several items on eBay this week, and last week too. So one of the items I bought last week was from what I call a big box seller. You know, the kind that's got huge feedback, like maybe 100,000 feedback, and gets a ton of negatives every month, but also gets way more positives. One of those guys. Now, I've bought from this guy before, and I've never had a problem, so I wasn't worried about it. I bought something. All right, this was last week. All right, he even put in a tracking number, believe it or not, the very next day. I thought I was getting the item. He waits a whole week, and he wrote to me this week and says, I'm giving you a refund. The item is damaged. We're going to order some more and hopefully have more in stock in a few weeks. Now, that alone I can accept because accidents do happen. But I really need the item that I purchased from this seller. So I decided to do an eBay search to see if anybody else had it. And who comes up #1 in the list but the same cat? And it shows he's got a quantity of these things. Now, if these items are damaged and he doesn't want to send them to me, I get that. Why not end the listing? Why is this listing still running on eBay showing he has a quantity of these things left? Any opinions on that would be welcome. And with that, I'm going to bring this long video to a close. And I'm going to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to remind you guys that I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Each week I come out here and I make these videos to try and help you be successful on eBay. If you think I'm doing a good job, please leave me a thumbs up. It tells me I'm on point and appreciated. If you don't think I did a good job this week, tell me in the comments section below what you want me to hit up, and I'll be glad to do it next week. Remember, I'm a seller friend, not a seller critic or skeptic of any kind. I'm still making money online. I've solved a lot of problems, and I've never worn a mask. Some say I could be a CEO or a CFO of my own company. Heck, you never know. So yeah, let us now take one final drink from the Fox News Cup of Life. Oh my God, I love this. Guys, please leave your comments on any or all of the topics that we've discussed this week. Go out there, make a ton of eBay sales, rock on, and peace! Yeah! Okay, the video is basically over. As far as that birdhouse is concerned, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some kind of a feeding apparatus to attach to it. Either I'm going to attach a cup on a wire, or I'm going to make some kind of receptacle to put bird seed in and bird food. That way it draws more of them to the birdhouse. Hopefully I'll be able to get that done by next week, and you guys will be able to see some birds visiting. I also hope that by next week we get one sunny day that I can film in, that it's not raining, but that's not going to happen. The long-range forecast, I checked on my phone, they're saying 2 dry days, Saturday and Sunday, and right back to 1 straight week of rain. Sickening, just plain sickening. So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna leave you guys. Don't worry, don't panic. Don't panic, I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna leave you guys with 3 words of wisdom, and then I'll see you next week. And those 3 words are, don't be fishy! Ha 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 ha! Yeah!